Hello all, welcome back. So in our playlist we are working on the Terraform Cloud. So in previous videos we created a Terraform Cloud free account, then we created our first pipeline with Terraform Cloud. We created some Google Cloud resources using Terraform Cloud. We created a workspace and we played along with the state file. So all these things we have done in our previous videos. Okay, so now in this video we are going to publish private modules to the Terraform private registry, because whatever we did in the last videos are mostly for checking the functionality of the Terraform Cloud, how Terraform Cloud works, how automatic plan and apply will work in Terraform, how we can set up our Git repository. So all these things we have checked. In this video we'll see how to follow the best practices, how to follow the best standards for Terraform Cloud as well as the GitHub. So all these things we'll see in this video. So first we'll try to understand why we need a private modules, even though we created a storage bucket in our previous video as well, but why we need a private module. So that one thing we'll see first. So let me just go to a GitHub repository where we created the storage bucket in our previous video. Okay, so this is our previous repository which we used in a previous video, and here we have code main.tf where we created two storage bucket. Now let's look at this code. This code is fine, we can create storage bucket with this code, there is no doubt, but is it code secure, is it following all the best practices? That we are still unsure. Okay, so when you are working in an organization you hardly see this kind of resource block statement while you are executing your Terraform code in calling module. So basically you will create your root module and then you have option to pass the parameter and call the root module. So how to create that root module or private module, and why we need that? Now suppose my organization don't want to use any other location from US, but now if developer is using this code, I can use EU here. I can like this is a public prevention access currently enforced, I can disable it, or I can force destroy, I can make it false, and other parameters also I can do whatever the developer want. But my organization want that okay, all storage buckets should be created in US and every bucket should have this public access prevention enforced, and these two, consider these two are kind of security practices I am going to implement. We'll see the GCS bucket code, what else we have here. Okay, so we have here lifecycle rules, and then we have others option, but currently we are not going to use others option. So let's see how we can use this to create our private module and how we can push our code into a registry in the sense a Terraform registry. So in previous video I have shown currently there are no modules available in the Terraform registry, so it might be a bit unclear how to use this module, how to use this registry. There might be some confusion, but wait for next 10 minutes and you will start understanding the things very clearly. So what we'll do, we'll just modify this module bit. Okay, so instead of using this hard-coded value, I'll just create a new repository now. Okay, so just keep it as it is. I'll create one new fresh repository. So I have to create a module, or I have to create a registry from that repository. Okay, so there are some standard for that. Even if I go and create a repository, what should be the name of that repository? So that is again a standard naming convention we should follow. So I have open documentation from the GitHub as well as not GitHub, it is Terraform HashiCorp Cloud documentation. Okay, and here we have a naming convention. What should be the name of our repository? So we have to follow this naming convention. First, Terraform hyphen provider name. So if you are using the Google provider, you can give Google provider, and the name, this is up to you, whatever you can mention, but still there are some naming convention that these you can follow, but it should be start with Terraform hyphen then provider name hyphen name. Okay, so what I will do, I will create the repository with the same naming convention. So I will give the naming convention Terraform hyphen name, my provider is Google hyphen, and name I will give GCS, because I have to create a GCS bucket. Okay, and I want to use a private repository, not a public. Okay, so I'll use a private repository. I'll just add a readme file. Okay, and I will create my repository. Okay, so that's it for this. Now I will use VS Code this time, because I will be creating a very standard module which all required files. So I'll be use a VS Code. Let me clone this code. So let me go in one of my folders. Let me open the command prompt here. Let me clone the repository. Okay, so let me go to the repository now, and let me open the VS Code here. So I have a VS Code open, and this is my repository, Terraform Google GCS. Now let me create all required files. So we need a multiple files here. So let me create first main.tf, then let me create a variables.tf, let me create outputs.tf. okay, and again let me create one more files here, versions.tf, and let me again create one version file. Let me create changelog.md. okay, so I am following the standard practices here. So if you go in the documentation, they also mention to use the structure. That way I will use, you can follow the documentation later. So if you can see the standard module structure, you can follow. So it's up to you, but these are the standard they have given. You can have readme file, you can have license, you can have variable and output files. All these things you can follow. So for now I have created this file. Okay, so let me close my earlier one. Okay, now I'll start putting my code. Okay, so what I will do, I will take a help of ChatGPT now. So I have earlier repository, I'll just copy it, I'll paste it here, but I will just remove these things. Okay, so now this is my code, but now I want a variables for this. Okay, so I'll just create a variables. So I'll get, as I said, I will get help from ChatGPT. So create variables.tf file for my below Terraform code with description and type. Okay, so it will create a variable file for me. Okay, and let me just copy it in my variable.tf. so it is, we have to validate, we can't blindly follow all these things because this is a location, so we have to use the same thing. So here we have to use the location, not okay. So name, we can use variable name, project ID. Okay, fine. Let me take the code as well. So I'm not focusing more on the manual stuff here. Okay, so now let me correct it. I will explain you what I am doing. So few things I will not ask, or I will not allow user to change, like this one. I always want every bucket in my organization, I want public access prevented. Okay, so I will hard code that value, which is in post and location US. These two value I will hard code. So this one and location US. So these two value I will hard code, so no one will able to change it. Rest value I will keep as like user can pass variable name and all these things, I will pass it. Now let me go to variable.file. Now let me remove public access prevention variable because we hard coded, and let me remove the location because this is also we hard coded. We need some default value, so force destroy will just give default value. For this, default is false. Let's make default as a true. If user is not passing value, it will be default true. Okay, and default here also will keep false. Okay, now we have these many files, let's create output.tf also. Okay, let's again go back to ChatGPT. Help me with output.tf file. So we will not use all the output, we'll keep only a couple of outputs here. Okay, we'll just take the bucket name and bucket ID. So output.tf. okay, so I'll just get only bucket name and bucket URL. Rest of the things I'll remove. Okay, I don't want it. So let's verify GCS bucket 1, and here also GCS bucket 1. Fine, let me save it. main.tf, save it. variables.tf, let's save it. Version. Okay, so here simply I can put 0.0.1. okay, let me remove this. This should be only 0.0.1. okay, and version.tf. okay, let me get it also from ChatGPT. tf for Terraform and Google Cloud. So we'll get versions.tf as well, so it will have our backend block. Let me copy. I'll change the version to the latest because ChatGPT might give the older version. I'll just remove this. Okay, and for Google Cloud version I will check which is the latest version. So here we can see the latest Google Cloud version. So current is 5.30, so we can use 5.39, or we can use, so there are all versions available. We can use 5.3.530. okay, so we can use 5. okay, we can use this version. Fine. And readme, yeah, that is fine. We can just put the same name and we are good. Okay, so we have changelog, so let's get changelog as well. Sample changelog file for book code. So we'll just use the sample. Okay, I'll just use this. I will not use all the things here. Okay, I'll just remove this. Okay, fine. So it already took today's date, that is fine, and we have only 2 output. So let's remove all these things. We'll remove this one, we'll remove this one. Yeah, so we are good. So these are the sample. Okay, now we are having some module available here. Okay, so let me change this. Let me replace it with only GCS bucket. I don't want this one. So in all files, let me replace. Here nothing. Okay, fine. Okay, we are good. So let me push the code now. Let me save it properly. Okay, let me just go here and just let me push my code. Git push. Okay, Okay, my code is pushed now. Let me verify here. Okay, we already have here. Okay, we have code here now. So we have required code. Now let's see how we can do it. So before that, we have one condition here. So your repository must have at least one release tag for your publish module, and this should be in the format x.y.z. So we need to create a release tag for, okay, in create new release. So in the right side we have a create new release, so click on a create a new release. Okay, and we'll choose a tag. So here currently there is no tag, so we have to create a tag. But what should be the tag name? So that already mentioned in the naming convention, it should be version followed by v. So we are using the version here, which is 001. So I will use this, copy it. I'll just add here, create new tag. Okay, now we have option here to generate release note. So I'll simply generate a release note. It will generate a link for us, and go and publish. So our release tag is published. So 0.0.1 is release tag is published here. So now we can go to our Terraform Cloud, and here earlier we saw there is no registry module here. So we can go to registry and check there is no module. So now I can go on publish module. So click on publish module. So we already connected to GitHub, but our repository is not there. We selected only one repository. So we'll see how we can select our repository. So if we go here, we will not able to see our repository. So our repository name is terraform-google-gcs. So how to get our repository in that list? So if you remember, we installed Terraform only for one repository. So let me go here and let me show you in applications. So we have Terraform Cloud installed, but it is only for, okay, let me authenticate again. It is timed out. Okay, so we have Terraform installed, but that is only for one repository. So you can see it is only for one repository, Terraform Cloud. So let me select repository, and I can add repository Terraform Google GCS. Okay, so I'll add one more repository and save here. Okay, now we'll able to add our module, or we can see here. So let's refresh it, and let's see if we can see our repository here now. Okay, now we can see Terraform Google GCS. Okay, so module publishing type tag will publish module. So it will take few seconds, and our module is published. Now you can see the module name is GCS. It is tag based. Okay, version is v001. Now you can see input, we have 4 inputs: name, that is string; project ID, that is string. So these two are required, and optional we have force destroy and version, because we have default value, so that is why it is optional. In output we have 2, bucket name and bucket URL. That is completely fine. Okay, so we have our first module with the version. So if I go here, you will see in a better way. So now you can see the one GCS having 001 tag based module. Okay, now how to use this module? So you can see at the right side there are instructions given here. So we can use this instruction. So we have to copy this. I'll copy it. Now earlier we created using this way. Okay, so now what I will do, I will edit this file, and I will use another way to create it. So I will first remove it. Definitely it will delete my bucket, and I will use this version. But now what are the 2 input we have to mention? So our module says we have input, a required input, name and project ID. So I will provide these 2 input, name and project ID. So name, I'll mention Terraform Cloud private registry demo 001. That is something I'm mentioning. It should have unique name, and project is also mandatory, so project also I will mention tt-dev-001. Okay, so these changes I am making now. Using this I can create my storage bucket. Now one thing to remember, earlier we had issue that we can change the location, but now you do not have input variable available to change the location, because location is now hard coded by your organization that this has to be US. Okay, now your location and public access prevention, that is enforced, so you cannot change that. So your all bucket created using this module will be highly secured. Okay, so let me just commit these changes. So we are doing it in, let me cancel these changes. We are doing it in main directly, so I don't want to do it in main. So let me go to the code. I'll make the changes in dev branch first. Okay, so I'll go here. Okay, we will do one thing. We'll just delete this branch and create new branch, because I can see some changes I made directly to the main. So let's delete a dev branch. Okay, create a new branch. Okay, now go to code. Okay, let me go to dev, and now let's me update my main.tf. So here earlier we were using the hard-coded resource block. Now we'll use the private registry. So how to use private registry? So source will be app.terraform.io, that is Terraform Cloud URL. Tech capture, which is my organization, and this is our module. Okay, so let's see how we can create using this. Let's see if we face any error. All these things we will see now. So we make the changes in the dev branch, and now let's go back and create a pull request. So compare and create pull request. So able to merge, create pull request. Now here we should see our two buckets will get deleted, and also go to runs workspace. We'll go to workspace. I'll just open a duplicate tab, and yeah, we'll go to runs, and one errored. Okay, let's see what is error now. Missing argument, line 5. I think something is missing. We have some syntax error. Let me go back. Okay, so let's see what is the error. So project is not expected here, so we'll check in the registry what is the exact name, what are the required output. So it is project underscore idc, so we have to use the module format. So let me go here, let me change it. So it should be project underscore id. Okay, and what was other errors? Yeah, I think that was it. So let me just commit changes, and let's go to pull request. And let's see if we can see the plans here, or we have to raise again, pull request again. Okay, now its plan is successful. Here also you can see Terraform plan. So these checks and all checks are passed, so it means our plan is successful now. So let's do merge pull, and it should execute Terraform plan apply. So I haven't checked the plan, but definitely it would delete two resources. Yeah, one to create, two to destroy. That is fine. Now let's go and check the plan and apply. So this will execute plan and apply. So let's check our bucket. So these two bucket will get created. Okay, so plan is finished, apply is running, 2 bucket deleted, uh, tfc demo bucket is 001 and 1 bucket created. Let's see. Now once I refresh, you won't be able to see these 2 bucket. Let's say refresh. Yeah, so these 2 bucket deleted and 1 bucket created. So in this way we used our private module. Now no one from my organization can change the location, no one from my organization can change the base settings. So all these things we can manage in our root module. And let's say now I have to change something. Okay, so I have to change something in my root module. So let me go to the main.tf. okay, now I just want a location also to be changeable. So I want everyone can change the locations as well, or just I want that all buckets should be having versioning enabled. So here what I will do, I will just make it hard-coded versioning is equal to true. I will add it and I will remove it from the variable. So I will just comment the versioning. So no one can have bucket created without versioning. So earlier bucket has versioning disabled. Now I will add it in my versions.tf, yeah, version file. So I will add it as a 2. Okay, and I will also add in the change log. So I don't need to add anything. I'll just add hard-coded versioning to true. Okay, that's the change I made. Now that's the change I made, and let's see if I push the branch. So one thing, now if you see in our module, so you can see this versioning was optional input, means you can make it false or you can make it true. But if we refresh once our module is published, okay, so module is published, so let's go to our, okay, so that is our new repository. Let me go. So our source option is here. So once I go to this repository, now I will create new release. So this was the earlier release. I will go to release, I will create a new release. Okay, so choose a tag, so I'll create new tag, two. Okay, and I'll give the name as well. Fine, I'll just generate release note and I will publish release. So now I published new release with v002. Let's check here. So earlier it is having only 001 version, right? Let's reload it. Okay, and let me go to the GCS. Now you can see 002 versions. Okay, 002, and now input variables you can see only force destroy. You do not see a versioning is already hard coded now, and even if you want to change the versioning you will not be able to see that. But suppose if I go to version 001, you will see 4 input. Here you have option for versioning, but in version 2 you do not have option for versioning. And how to use version 2? The similar way, you have to change in your code and you will use a versioning. So here in your code you can change this 001 to 002. So this way we can maintain a tag and we can maintain our private registries. So even though if you are using the latest release, your resources won't be impacted until unless you have your version in place in your registry. So here you can create version with 001, you can upgrade it to 002. So that's how you can manage it. So if you put anything in readme file, so all the details will be here in the readme file. So currently we do not have anything in readme file, that is why the details are not showing here. Else you can put all the details in your readme file. Now you can see you have this private module, okay, in your registry. So that's it for this video. So hope you enjoyed this video and you try to implement in your environment, and let me know if you face any issues. So we'll see you in a next video.